Well, hey there, colleague. How in the world's it going? Dave Stewart here, and want to have a little story time today. Hey, I'm starting a series on teacher moralization, whatever the opposite of demoralization is. This little series is going to be meant to provide a little, just little cures for that. I think that demoralization is a super powerful force in a job with the dynamics of teaching, a job that has a huge workload attached to it and tons of meaning, purpose, and power attached to it. And then also these massive systems and forces that impact it. I think like demoralization is guaranteed in a school year. And the way out of demoralization is, I think, an inner journey. And these little videos that I make are going to be meant to help us with the inner journey. Okay, so subscribe to not miss those because they're going to be cool. Okay, so the point of telling you this story is not in any way to be like, oh, Dave Stewart is an amazing teacher and we should all strive to be like him. No. The point about this story has nothing to do with me and everything to do with us, you and me and all of our colleagues who are engaged in the work of education. Some months ago, I was at the grocery store and I ran into a former student. We'll call him Scott. As I was passing by the deli counter, I heard, Mr. Stewart, I have to talk to you. The urgency in his voice jolted me out of my reverie. And I looked up and I saw Scott. Well, hey there, Scott. What's up? Mr. Stewart, I got a public speaking job. I'm going to be the union steward here at the store, so now I have to tell the new employees about the union and speak to them about it every time that they're hired during their orientation. I get to go to a training for it today. I mean, Scott is just beaming at this point, just lighting up the entire grocery store. So, super quick backstory. Scott had been working at the grocery store for a few years by this point. I had seen Scott working there periodically. And, Scott had dropped out of high school. A few years after I taught him as a ninth grader, he left. And every time that I saw Scott at the store, I just couldn't escape this sense of, dude, you failed Scott. Like, you weren't enough to help Scott to complete high school. Like, that's just the non-logical but very real sense that I had when I would run into Scott. Okay, so back to the story. Scott, that's super good news. Congratulations. I sat there just kind of looking at Scott, and he just looked at me. I started to feel a little awkward with the extended pause. I'm really happy about it, Scott. Me too, he said. Mr. Stewart, your class really helped me with public speaking. I used to hate it so much and I'd feel so stupid, but those pop-up debates that we did really showed me that I could do it. Thank you. Well, Scott, that's such a wonderful thing to hear. I think really all that we did in my classes made public speaking normal. That's really it. We practiced it together, we learned things about it together, and we consistently did it. We were all pushing ourselves, Scott. You were as much a part of that as me. We sat there smiling at each other. Hey, listen, Scott, I gotta keep shopping for groceries, but I want you to know that what you said to me really makes my day. Thank you. And so I walked away, and as I walked away, my mind registered one bright neon sign. For all those years, I had been certain that I had failed Scott, that I didn't do enough as his teacher. I was positive that no matter how much I had tried, I didn't help him to grow into a better thinker, reader, writer, speaker, or person. I just was a non-contributor. But Scott didn't think that. I assumed that, but Scott didn't think that. Scott had evidence years after the fact that actually some simple things that I had done had mattered. Tests didn't show that, his grades didn't show that, his diploma didn't show that. But nonetheless, there it was that day in the store, staring at me with a big old smile. So here's my point. You and I just don't know the extent of our impact. We don't. There's just something about the power of doing the right work day in and day out with the mindset of a craftsperson that is too wrought with potential. Providing knowledge-rich learning experiences for our students, cultivating in our hearts a gentle and earnest love for each of them, working through our hard feelings about them so that on the other side of that work, we can like them even as we try to teach them. This is all just a stupefyingly potential-laden kind of work. So just remember, for every thank you that you get from a student, there are uncountable others that you won't ever get. And my point is just that today, you and I really have no idea what good things our good work will produce. Hang in there, colleague. I'll see you next time.